Just over 3 weeks ago, 2 New York City subway trains derailed on the Upper West Side of the Manhattan borough, along the IRT's 7th Avenue line. 2 one-line trains, one in service and one out of service, collided, causing minor injuries to approximately 26 people and severely disrupting service along the 7th Avenue line for the rest of the day and the preceding weekend. The build-up to the collision began at 2:11 in the afternoon of January 4th, when train 1345 was forced into an emergency stop due to unruly passengers pulling the brake cords on the first 5 railcars. After the operator was unable to reset the emergency brakes, the train was moved to the 79th Street local station, where passengers alighted the train as it was being taken out of service. After inspectors were also unable to reset the brake, the train was moved to a rail yard using the local track, or track 4. Because the 1 line is the sole local service of the IRT 7th Avenue line group, it utilizes the local tracks along the line, while 2 and 3 trains utilize the Center 2 express tracks. Because the out-of-service train was using the local track to access the rail yard, 1 line trains had to be rerouted using the express track, track 3, instead of using the local track, track 4. The out-of-service train, which had 4 workers on board, was being operated in the 6th car of the consist. IRT trains, one of the subdivisions of the New York City subway system, are composed of true train sets, a 5-car train set and a 6-car train set. In this case, the 5-car train set portion, which was the front set of the train, had the emergency brakes applied and therefore couldn't be operated by a conductor from that cab car. Instead, the train had to be controlled from the 6th car, where the second set of the consist began. A conductor controlling the train from that position relied on a flagger situated in the disabled first car of the train to control speed and watch for signals. At some point, the supervisor controlling the train did not receive a command from the flagger to stop at a red signal. Trip stops, which act as an emergency brake system to stop a train that has passed a red signal, did not activate because the brakes were disabled on the train. So at this point, the out-of-service train was continuing forward on the local track near the 96th Street station. The stop signal for the out-of-service train on the local track was given because an in-service 1 train was making the switch from the express track to the local track in order to continue stopping at local stations. The out-of-service train continued through the junction past the signal, colliding into the in-service 1 train, in the process of crossing the junction to the local track. The collision resulted in 5 cars derailing, 2 from the non-revenue out-of-service train and 3 from the in-service train. 26 people suffered minor injuries from the derailment, the majority coming from the 200 passengers on the in-service train. The collision resulted in widespread service outages along the 7th Avenue lines. 2 and 3 trains operated limited service, avoiding the 96th Street area, while 1 trains were essentially suspended. Full restoration of the 3 lines came 2 days after the collision, following the removal of the trains from the tunnel, a thorough investigation, repairs to the tunnel's tracks and 3rd rail, and a final safety inspection. Despite service having been restored on the line soon after, the exact cause of the collision would not be revealed until the NTSB, or National Transportation Safety Board, had completed a thorough investigation of the incident. Almost 3 weeks following the collision, the NTSB released a preliminary report on the incident, citing vandalism and communication failures as the preliminary causes of the incident. The vandalism was attributed to the unruly passengers who pulled the emergency brake cords, forcing the train to enter an out-of-service state. The vandalism also caused issues to the first half of the train's wheels and brakes, forcing the controlling to be done from the 6th car. This cascaded into the second point of failure, which was a communication failure. As I mentioned before, the out-of-service train was being controlled by an operator in the 6th car, while a flagger in the first car alerted the operator of upcoming signals and speed changes. The train was traveling at a speed no greater than 10 miles per hour, otherwise known as a restricted speed. When the stop signal was seen, the flagger radioed to the operator to stop the train, but because of a failure between the radios, the operator did not receive the message and instead continued over the intersection, striking the other train. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed and want to see more videos about public transportation, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and comment any new video topics you'd like to see. Thanks for watching.